Alright, so today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make a rexv2 type beat inspired by Winter Circle. And I'm kind of just cloning Wall with this. If y'all know, he's a go. He produced most of the tracks on Winter Circle. So like the thing about these kinds of beats is you need a pretty good PC, because if you can see, I'm running 11 instances of Xenology on this shit. So just keep that in mind. If you have a shitty PC, don't even try to make this shit, because it's not gonna run. You're gonna be running like 2 FPS. But for the lead, I mean, you always gotta start out with the lead on these. Um, the one that he uses, I know he uses what's it called? The It's one of these. It's like the Fruity Oscillator, something like that. 3x OSC. But there's a preset that's pretty much the exact same as Xenology, and I'm not trying to remake all that. So it sounds like this. So it's just like a basic like saw lead. I don't even know how to explain it. But you always want to start with the lead, because it's like the main groove and funk of the beat. It's just like what's holding it all together. It's the main thing you hear in the beat. So the lead just goes like this. So it's pretty simple. Wah beats usually have a lot of shit on the beat. Like if you notice, it's most of the notes are on the beat. There's not a lot of notes that are just like off the beat. I mean, we have a few of these, but for all the main notes, it's really just on the beat. So you also want to include some of these little strums, I guess you could call them. I don't even know what they're called, but you make the note kind of just like that, and it's just like this is the main sound in the beat. And then after that, you want to go ahead and lay down a little bass pattern, because this adds even more groove to the beat. You want to make something really groovy, do some offbeat shit, some triplets. I'm using the same preset here, just a lower octave. So yeah, just something like that. Kind of sounds like something that would be in a 2000s pop song. So you just want to make it really groovy. Then I just lay down these chords. Once again, I'm using the init tone from Jupiter. Just a good all-around saw. So it just adds some like fullness to the mix. I mean, you don't gotta add this, but I do find that it makes the beat sound a lot fuller. Then we got this little stab, which is glide saw keys. Make sure to turn off the release. I feel like a lot of wah beats utilize like cut release sounds, so you just want to make something that's just on the beats. I mixed up the length of the notes a little bit to add some like variety. So just something like simple like that. It's literally the same chords as this, just chopped up. And then after that, just want to add some like filler. So this is the first little filler I added. It's just like a descending little key. I don't even know how to call it. It's the same preset as the last one with the. This has no, it's the same thing. Oh, I forgot to mention. Turn off the reverb. Basically, turn off the reverb on all sounds, because it's just gonna make it sound muddy. It's just gonna make it sound a little bit too full, because these beats don't be that full in the melodies. Yeah, so it's just like a little simple descending thing. Just fills up the beat. Then you want to add this like little goofy uh, just like a little video game plug. To get these like smaller notes, you gotta go into here and just change it to 1/4, which is what I did. So it sounds like this. So it's just gonna add more like rhythm to the beat. This is the init tone from SH101. It's not the same as the other one I was using, but it's also basically just like a basic just wave. I can't tell if this is a saw or a square. Might be both. Then I went in and I added this, which is just a texture. Just gonna add some space to the beat. I don't even know. I just added in. So for the textures, I added a different texture every bar, just to like add a little bit of progression to the beat. Because without it, it would just be kind of like the same loop going over and over again. So next, I added this. I know it sounds goofy on its own, but it works. Then I added this. These are all just like random like synth sounds from Zonology. There's a bunch of them. You could find like so many. Um, then the last texture I added was this. Just and pretty sure I had to take off something from this. Maybe it was another one. But with these you really got to modify the presets because a lot of them have like drums that you don't need that are just gonna take up space that you don't want to be taken up. And if you notice with the patterns, each one is like ascending, so it goes up throughout the loop. Once again, to add a little bit of progression. And then at the end of the loop, I just added this. It's just a cool sound. It just like glides down. It's the FX22 in Zonology. That is not the FX22, my bad. That is the Arcade 132. Wait, no. It is FX22. Kind of dumb. Yeah, that's it for the melody. It just goes like this.
Maybe a hero isn't all that I am. Maybe
It's a pretty nice melody right there. And in terms of mixing it, what I do for all these kinds of beats is I cut some of the lows because there's bass. Obviously, you don't want that clashing with the 808. I lower some of the mids, not too much because you still want it to be full, but you really want to boost the highs. That's just something I noticed. Even on the master, I'm boosting the highs right here. You want to cut down this because it's going to make the 808s muddy, but I'll get into that later. And then for the drums, these aren't really like typical wah drums. I kind of did my own thing, so don't rely on this for like how to make wah drums. This is like my own type of drums kind of. For this, I'm using this like sstepteam kit that I found online. It's pretty good. I might include it in the description. So you want to just like you want to add a bunch of snare rolls. As you can see with all these snare patterns, they all have like rolls except for this one. Really like this sound. Pretty sure Wall used it on tmsu. It's just like a tom. It's pretty cool. So it sounds like this. So there's just like a lot going on. You want to fill up as much of those drums as possible, in my opinion. Just sounds pretty good. Adds a lot of rhythm. You want to use a bunch of triplets, 808s. You want to vary the pitch. You want to use You also want to do a hi hat. I don't know why I say 808s. I meant hi hat. But for hi hats, you want to do like a longer, like kind of like shakery hi hat. That's what I always use. So it's a nice sound. And then for the 808s, it's really just like a simple pattern, but I do add some like off beats, and you want to add a lot of cutting to this because like once again, Wall uses a lot of release cut sounds. So this is what the 808 sound like. So yeah, those like little off beats sound kind of bad on their own, but with the drums, it really goes well with like the rolls and shit. So if you listen. In terms of mixing, I probably should have done this first, but for the drums, you kind of just do the same thing you do with the melody. You just boost the highs to make it like slap a little harder, you know what I'm saying? You kind of boost the volume to your liking. You gotta gain stage everything. The 808s, the mixing is just like a typical like rage 808 mixing that I do. You literally just boost the lows, like the low lows, and then once you get the distortion from that, you go into the master and you cut down those low lows because you already got the distortion and like the wobbling that you need. So you just boost this because this is the actual bass that doesn't make it muddy. If you leave that in, it's gonna be a little bit muddy and a little bit too distorted. So yeah, that's it. And then for the intro, what I do is what a lot of people do is they cut out the ending part and they leave like the little lead or the blip. I chose the blip, so it just goes. I also added in that tom. This is just one of my tags I put in everything. It's another tag. There's just a little sound effect, little clip from Teen Titans Go I put. For arrangement, you want to just like add some really full parts and then add like an empty part after. You kind of just like repeat that, and then at the end you just let the melody play out a little bit. So this is the beat.
Maybe a hero isn't all that I am. Maybe I could be, maybe we could be Starfire.